Eric, we're good?
Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so we will get our meeting underway. Tammy, it's 5:38, and we will do our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tammy, please note that all board members are present, and looks like we have Dr. Yucca and Joel on one side and Anna on the other, and Leland as well. And I'll turn the time over to you.
Thank you. So we are here today to potentially ask the board to, well, we're here to ask the board to pass a resolution to issue, to allow the district to do a major election to issue bonds, but I wanted to go through some explanation before we get to that point. So you have a packet in front of you, and in the first page, there's a white and blue page that says awesome program pre-election commitment results. And I want you to realize or notice here that it says May 2024. So that just kind of illustrates that this is specifically for the May 2024 election. And you can see on here that there are,
Copy of that. There you are.
there are schools that are, school districts that are listed in blue in the top box and school districts that are listed in blue in the bottom box. The top box is the, this is based on the ranking. So school districts submit a facility assessment and then ODE ranks them based on need. As far as, you know, how badly do your facility need to be upgraded, updated. And so these, Crook County School District is not even in that list. But below, you can see that there's a first in time recipients and waiting list there, and Crook County School District was selected in the first in time section, which means that Leland was incredibly fast and responsible to get that grant application submitted immediately when it opened up. And so that's why Crook County School District is on there as receiving a $6 million commitment. That's the most we've ever been awarded. The limit just recently went up to 6 million, so it's probably the most that any of these districts have ever been awarded, but sometimes we don't even get on the list. So that's why this opportunity, we just felt like it couldn't be passed up, that we could get the $6 million if we passed a bond to match it. On the next page is the list that we showed at the last meeting with one addition, and that's the second line down, which is $5 million for the heating system, which means the boiler system and potentially HVAC, but we're not exactly sure because there's a lot of work that's gonna need to go into figuring out the details before we actually do anything with this, but our estimate is 5 million. So everything that's listed here is basically roofs, boilers, and security. It's a very simple, straightforward bond, very limited, fairly small. If the bond passes, we would probably issue the bonds and sell the bonds in July, which is when the funds would become available. So there's some time between now and July. And so when you look in the resolution, there's some things in there that kind of give us a little bit of flexibility, because that's several months from now and things in the market could change that we may want to structure the bonds a little bit differently, but the plan wouldn't change. That makes sense? The plan for how the funds would be used. Okay, so the next page is, this is just a graph that was put together by Piper Sandler, who is the underwriter. It shows several school districts, mostly local, and their bond tax rate. And you can see that Crook County, of the ones that have a bond tax rate, Crook County is the lowest right now, meaning our taxpayers pay the least amount for school facilities right now in taxes. If we were to pass the bond that we're proposing, that would be an additional 10 cents above and beyond our current 62 cents. So that would put it at 72 cents, which is still one of the lowest tax rates. It's less than $1. So it'd be one of the lowest tax rates around and the lowest in Central Oregon. Any questions so far?
That's the projected to 72 cents.
Projected to 72 cents, yes. The next page kind of shows how we arrived at that number. The underwriter came up with 3 analyses. There's 3 different columns here. One of them says accelerated 12 years, coterminous 14 years, and 20 years. Basically, all you need to worry about is 12, 14, and 20. So this is the page with the 3 columns. And of course, we don't know exactly what we want to do. It'd probably be between the 12 and 14, either the 12 or the 14, somewhere in that range. Because once you start getting to that 20 years and that's the amount of time that you take to repay the debt. Once you reach that 20-year point, the total cost of debt is just a little bit higher than we would like to see. But as you look at that 12-year column there, it shows a total par amount of $10,996,000, which is basically the 11 million that we would issue. And then down below that, it shows the projected average levy rates currently is 62 cents. So the prior debt is 62 cents. And then starting in 2025, 2026, it would go up 6 cents and then, it's gonna go up anyway to 66 and then there'd be an additional 6 cents. So the new bonded rate would be 72 cents and it would continue through until 2036 where it would drop down to 37 cents. So that's kind of how you read that. You can see on the 12-year, the total interest down in the box below that is $4.5 million. And then of course, the longer you take to pay off the debt, the more interest you end up paying over time. So this is, like I said, this is not something we need to decide on right now. It just kind of shows you the process that was, and this was a 21-page document. I just saved you from reading the whole thing. If you want it, you're more than welcome to have it. And then the next piece is a resolution for your consideration. We did actually hand out a new one, and hopefully that one, I believe, was emailed to Jessica. So there was a couple of just minor changes that came in today from the underwriter, and they're tracked here, and it just shows on the first page, instead of just saying proceeds, it says principal amount. And then on the very back page on the exhibit, it says principal amount. And the reason for that change, those 2 changes, is just to clarify that we could issue $11 million worth of bonds. But if at that time bonds are selling at a premium, meaning investors want to pay more than the face value, we could actually do that and receive more money than what we issue. That's what you always want to have happen. But it depends on the market and you don't have any control over it, other than trying to time it just right. What the resolution does is it authorizes a ballot measure. It specifies the amount of the principal. It states the uses of the funds. And it specifies the maximum payback years. It says 26 years in here, but we won't go 26 years. But it just gives us that flexibility when we go to start selling bonds. The exhibit at the very back, what that does, it provides the wording for the measure. And it states the estimated tax increase down at the bottom where it shows that 10 cents per $1,000 and assessed property value. And I will leave it open for questions or action.
Are you paying the fees on the 6 million, or is that, what are you paying your fees on measures from the tax rates? Is that on?
It's a great question. It's just on the 11 million.
So we're getting, so with the 17 is what you're getting.
Yes. Yes. You're getting 17 million for the cost of 11.
Yes. And that's that's the 11 million is what will hit the tax rolls.
Yes.
Out of the 17.
do you have any room in the question, because there are limits, to get the matching piece in there, to reference the match?
Are you talking about the exhibit?
Yeah, I'm looking at the exhibit, I'm looking at the question, which is the thing
Oh,
most people pay
question.
attention to. Nobody
There
ever
is-
gets to the explanation.
Yeah, there are some word
Right.
spacing,
So I'm asking you if you have
available.
any, you have some available still?
yes,
And
there,
if there's any way you could mention the match, that, I mean, that's the selling point for the whole bond.
okay. I don't know if we're
I don't know
allowed
if you got
to.
enough room
Yeah.
for that, but, well, you've got it in your summary, so
Mhm.
it should be allowable in the question.
Okay,
Shall the district access, maybe after that first sentence, access a state match of 50 cents for every dollar? Or something like that.
okay,
I don't know quite how you word it, but
yeah,
you get the concept. It's a big sell point.
yeah,
That we're getting $6 million.
Yeah, we're leveraging the 6 million. with
Right.
this.
just thinking of the logistics of doing
And I
that.
don't know how many words you have left, so.
I don't know how many, I think I can figure that out. I don't, like I said, I don't know what the legalities are and what you can put in there, and I always leave that to bond counsel.
And that last bit, I know that's constitutional, does that count against your word limit?
It's, I think each section has a word limit.
Right. So I don't, yeah, oh yeah, there's a very stern word limit.
Yeah, so I actually, at one point I had,
But the part about the limits of sections 11 and 11B, Article 11, does that count against your word limit? Or do you have to count that into your word limit?
I don't know.
Cause I know that has
really
to be
didn't
in
pay too
there.
much attention to the word limit, all I know is, so the question is, how would we
In that first statement or that first.
do that tonight?
And Anna, what's in the summary portion, the same page, I think Scott was on, the exhibit A? Why do we list furnishings? Are we buying desks and chairs as well, or?
We are not planning to, but that I've noticed is standard language that bond counsel uses. And I believe the reason for that is so that if, for example, you had to remodel a space and you had to add cabinets or redo a built-in desk or something like that in order to, if you had to tear something apart and then rebuild something that might fall under furnishings. And so it just covers you in case that happens, so that you wouldn't end up being, out of compliance with what your resolution said. But we
Okay.
actually don't have plans for specific furnishings.
Okay,
And I can help you with that. So after where it says repair, update schools and district facilities, semicolon, add another one that says leverage state matching funds. Semicolon.
Do you think the amount is important to put in there to catch people's eye?
If we could, but I don't know if we have enough words.
Right.
Well, I mean, your value's right there in that top
It's
line.
in the summary, so we'll drag you down. to the
Right,
summary
it-
Maybe.
But like to your point,
No, only 10% of people actually read the summary,
right,
90% read it, base it off the question.
well, can we highlight?
Can we put it
Can we
yellow?
put arrows?
If you really truly mean if it's leverage state matching funds of 6 million.
Of 6 million, yeah.
That's two more words. I don't know what you're.
Okay, so just thinking about how to approve this, what if you,
We can make the motion. if you
Make
put
them?
those words in there.
okay.
If you can fit them.
Yeah, so basically you would say to amend the resolution to include, and then you'd state what you were gonna say.
Yeah,
And then say pending bond council approval.
so Madam Chair, I move to adopt Exhibit A, amending the question to read, shall district increase state semicolon, repair, update schools and district facilities, semicolon, leverage state matching funds of $6 million, semicolon, issue $11 million principal amount in bonds, et cetera, et cetera. And I further move to authorize Anna Logan to edit as needed to meet word requirements. So if we get out of here, you don't.
So but I think Anna's worried that she may not get, we may be at the word limit. Is that your concern, Anna?
I'm not so sure about the word limit. That is one of my concerns. And then the other concern is what are the rules about what you can add to that section? But if you can't, then Scott's given enough.
Right, that's why I
flexibility.
made the motion to give her the ability to edit it.
Okay, I have some other questions for Leland too. Or Anna, you may be able to answer them. Just being new to the board, when is the last time we've replaced roofs?
Madam Chair, point of order, I have a motion on the floor. It needs a second or it needs to die.
Second,
Steve second.
May I add something? I don't know if I'm allowed. We really need the resolution approved in addition to the exhibit. The exhibit A is. So I just want to make sure that we don't.
But that motion, Tammy, was to approve the resolution and exhibit A as amended. I'm sure you heard me say that the first time.
Always good to repeat.
Okay with you?
I still second it.
You got a motion and a second now, Madam Chairman. Sorry, under discussion.
Okay, so
Discuss, right?
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
can we have the discussion now that you have a second, Scott?
have a way.
My discussion piece isn't necessarily on the resolution, just an understanding more or less of, have we replaced roofs before? Have we just repaired them? When is the last time we've done? My concern is just to, I guess, how do we not wind up back in the position of needing to run a bond to replace roofs, if that makes sense? Do we have, do we have a plan out where like this roof lasts 20 years, so we set aside X amount of dollars so we can replace them in 20 years, or do we just rely on a bond to do so?
So I'm not sure when they were replaced last. I know that there's like, if you look at the Steens Pillar Grizzly Mountain buildings, there's 7 layers of roofing on there, so it's been replaced at least 7 times. I'm
But are
not
those
sure-
overlays, Leland, or replacements?
Those were overlays over the top of
Okay,
probably a couple types of roofing.
gotcha.
The middle school roof, I don't know if the metal roof has ever been replaced or not. I have a feeling the flat roofs have probably been replaced at least once. Crooked River, I have a feeling had some work done on the flat roofs. It's the same type of metal roof as the, middle school. And whatever, high school's in good shape. The type of roofing that we're looking at placing on the buildings will be standing seam sheet metal. So for instance, the high school is standing seam sheet metal right now, and it's 25 years old, and we don't have any issue with that roof.
Okay.
We typically don't have problems with standing seam sheet metal. The flat roofs, on another hand, are always a concern, but right now, we do try and put money aside. That's what the maintenance reserves for, is to put money aside so we can do some of these things. When we start talking about roofs and millions of dollars, it's hard to build up enough money in that account.
Yeah, the way funding works, and at least in Oregon, probably in the whole United States, is that the money that you receive on a yearly basis is enough. If you're good stewards, it's usually enough for you to take care of maintenance and, ongoing care of your buildings, but it's not enough to do major capital projects. And so that's why the taxing mechanism exists for school districts to be able to go out and issue a bond separate from the regular tax rate to pay for these capital types of, expenditures. So yes, I think you probably will have to replace these roofs again with a bond, hopefully in 30 to 50 years.
Okay,
not-
gotcha.
The time that, your kids are still in school or anything like that, if that was the concern, that it shouldn't be soon. And we have done roofs before, and we've also had a roofing, I want to say a roofing contractor come in and actually consultant, yeah. And help us figure out what needs to be done with the roofs and also how much it would cost.
Okay, so are we switching out the flat roofs, Leland, with this sheet metal? Or is that what we're doing with them all? Because it sounds like we're just repairing some and replacing others, if I'm reading that correctly.
So there are some of the flat roofs that can be restored. When you see a flat roof and it says replace, it's probably gonna be an overlay. So it'll probably be another membrane material that'll be placed over the top of the existing. And then everything else, everything that's pitched, we'll try and do in standing seam sheet metal. It's just when we have those flat places, and some of them you can't see, like Steen Spiller and Grizzly Mountain, there's actually a flat roof on top of those pitched roofs.
Oh, okay.
The board did at some point an analysis of what it would cost to replace some of the flat roofs with pitched roofs. It wasn't pretty, and we quickly threw that out.
It goes up a lot.
Yeah.
The main reason for flat roofs in this area is pretty much cost, because they're not ideal in hard weather conditions.
Right.
That's the main reason you'll see flat roofs, is because of the extra cost it would take to build the building up to get to where you need to put the pitch of the building.
Okay. And then Leland, were you able to figure out, are we saving a chunk of money by adding in the middle school as that line item, or is it not worth the savings to run it with this bond? I didn't see any other comparisons, so I wasn't sure.
So I got costing on all the roofs and all the HVAC, and it's like 30 million. So
Okay.
what's in this is all the roofs and the HVAC stuff at the middle school. So we want to try and take advantage of the sections of building where there's like just a crawl space. When we tear that roof off, there would be some savings of us trying to get equipment into those spaces while we have the roof off. I don't know how much it would be, but there would be some savings there.
Okay. Those are all the questions I had. I don't know if anyone else has questions. We're ready to vote.
Leland, I had a question. Was there anything, I didn't see anything in here, and we kind of touched on it briefly last time about Powview.
So Powview, since it's mostly roofs that we're dealing with, Powview's roof is new, except for some of the mods.
Okay,
So I'm hoping that there's some money in there to work on the mods. If not, we'll actually do the mods. I know we're actually looking at the one that's leaking,
right.
right now, and we can probably just try and take it on as a summer project and put a new roof on it internally.
Would that be an overlay, or would it be just be removing it and putting a new one on?
Those roofs are and if there's only one layer of composition roofing on there, we'd probably overlay it
Okay.
and just put another layer of shingles on top.
Leland, I think you brought up grading
Yes.
on the work session. I thought that maybe I heard you say that you have separate funds set aside for coffee. Did I hear that right? That you were looking at so there's when we hit on this last time, quickly at the work session. Did I hear that correctly? That Powview has funds set aside for
We-
both things?
We set aside funds to propel View to do some security stuff. So they have some doors that need card access that we wanted to add and upgrade to the system that we were upgrading everything else to. There was some door access, panic bars and whatnot that needed to be upgraded, so we're working on upgrading those. And the other thing was the PA system.
And any money left in that fund for the mod that's leaking, or is that just separate?
Well, that money to do that work's all in the maintenance reserve already, so that would still be the same. It'd be the same bottom line.
Anna, is the Powview mods, or any of those on our list to of the expiring leases, or is that just the middle school?
That's just the middle school.
Oh, okay. So what is our ownership or leasing, or how does that work with our mods out at Powview? Do we take care of those, or how does that work?
School district owns some of them, and the charter school owns one or two or three.
And I think they leased that new one.
The new one is loose.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the funds though set aside, the one that's leaking, we own. So we need to get that one repaired as well.
So I think regardless, I think we're responsible to try and take care of that in the contract.
Okay,
Or-
but we
So
have,
either way, whether we-
okay. But we have the funds to do so without adding it to this bond.
Yes,
Okay,
How many modulars do they have?
6,
6.
right, 6 or 7. That's-
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
any other questions or discussion pieces before we vote? No? You good, Scott? You good, Steve?
Yeah, one more point of clarification, Brandon, so this bond will increase 10 cents.
Yes, from this tax year, it would increase the taxes by 10 cents
10 cents
per thousand.
Wouldn't that be 10 cents minus any growth?
That in,
Because if you have a bigger base to spread it over, it'll be a little
so we
less.
assumed growth,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we assumed growth of the tax base conservatively, so if the tax base were to grow more, then it would be less than 10 cents.
And
That
then
makes
how
sense.
many years again was it till it dropped back down, Anna? Did you say, was that the 12 years or 26 years? I don't remember, sorry.
All options.
Oh, okay,
36 or 35 or whatever.
And that's because the bond that we currently have that's outstanding is going to be gradually dropping off substantially.
okay.
So even with this addition, it would still drop off at that time.
Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, so all those in favor of accepting the resolution and the changes allowed to Anna, I don't know how to word that correctly, Scott, allowing Anna the ability to change the word set in Exhibit A to meet the criteria of the bond. All those, does that sound right?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed? Okay. Tammy, please record that was a 5-0. 5 in favor, 0 not in favor of Anna moving forward with our bond.
Thank you, Anna, for all of your hard work.
Go.
Exciting.
Leland, you too, thank you.
Thank you all.
What happens
Thank
next?
you.
Okay, so any other comments, questions, concerns before we adjourn the meeting?
No.
Okay, so we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.